Ryan Garcia versus Teofimo Lopez at 147 makes sense. I got Teofimo Lopez. I think he beats Ryan Garcia. The way Ryan could beat him is by boxing him, though. It's by poking, and well, the thing is, though, I think Ryan Garcia power translate more than Teofimo.
My next fight is for a unification at 40, and then we got Jerron in his boots, 47.
Yeah.
Ooh, and then the winner.
That's fire.
Then the winner in February against Haney Garcia.
Ooh.
I just don't like when fighters like Teofimo Lopez over-evaluate themselves, because now I'm dealing with a liar. I can't.
It's not uncommon for future opponents to have a heated exchange at a boxing press conference, but what went down between Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez had a completely different vibe. What made this moment even more interesting was the fact that neither Garcia nor Lopez are set to face each other next, yet the intensity between them was undeniable.
Were you in camp with Teofimo at all, Ryan? Because I saw you going back and forth, and you're both working with Eddie right now. Talk to us about that.
I don't have nothing against Teo. I think Teo's cool. He was kind of taking shots at all of us about, our accomplishments, and, I kind of...
Garcia didn't hold back, immediately cranking up the intensity as he fired verbal shots at Lopez in front of the media and fans. "We don't give a flip what you are," Garcia snapped. "We don't give a flip, bro. I'm tired of hearing this nonsense. We're going to run that, 100%. Lopez wasn't one to back down, locking eyes with Garcia with the same fierce energy he brings into the ring. Tensions boiled over, and the two had to be separated before things turned physical.
Go after Teofimo. That's why me and him trip more than everybody else. I just feel like that's who I really wanted to fight for, the next big.
Ryan Garcia is no stranger to mind games. With a massive social media presence and a talent for getting under his opponent's skin. He's built his brand not just with his blistering hand speed, but also with his ability to ignite tension in his eyes. Lopez is already a target, and he's making sure the world knows that this isn't the first time Garcia has set his sights on Lopez. Either the idea of a Garcia versus Lopez showdown has been brewing for years. Back on July 16, 2022, after delivering a devastating knockout win over Javier Fortuna at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, Garcia made it clear who he wanted next if his long-anticipated fight with Gervonta Davis didn't come to life.
But,
How's it feel?
Ryan, which of the two fights got your attention? You interested most? If we got the Haney or Teo could get it if he wins?
I want Teo because I haven't fought Teo. And I feel like I wanted to do, for me, it's like fight everybody. That's what I always wanted to do. When I seen everybody hyping up, Tang, Devin, Teofimo, that was like the whole thing. So in my heart, I wanted to fight Teo because I feel like I handled Haney, regardless.
So of the four kings, that's still ongoing then?
That's how I feel. I feel like that's what it is.
Then I want to fight Teofimo Lopez at 140 pounds. Those words from Garcia never turned into a fight back then, but now they feel more relevant than ever. The tension between them has only intensified, and their recent altercation has reignited talks of a potential mega fight. With both fighters making waves at 140 pounds, a showdown between Garcia and Lopez seems more like a matter of when, not if. This rivalry has all the makings of a blockbuster event. Two of the sport's most outspoken and electrifying fighters ready to settle the score in the ring.
How you doing?
Good, bro.
How you doing, bro?
Hey, we're ever gonna see you guys in the ring together? Against each other?
Hey, what up, Turkey?
Oh, yeah, Turkey was good.
What's good?
Hey, Ryan Garcia versus Teofimo Lopez.
Hey, man, we for the people. That's all it is.
Are you down for that fight?
Hey, man, yeah. I mean, we both believe in God, so, at the end of it all, it's just be
Make
two.
the best man win.
Yeah, exactly.
Ryan, you'd be down to box Teofimo?
Why wouldn't I?
Who gets slept in that one?
It'd be a big fight.
He loves boxing, man. We grew up.
An East Coast versus West Coast rivalry adds even more fuel to the fire. Lopez, a Brooklyn-born fighter of Honduran descent, embodies the tough, no-nonsense style of New York boxing. On the other hand, Garcia, a California native, brings the flash and confidence that define West Coast fighters. Both warriors have something to prove. Garcia is bouncing back from a high-profile loss to Gervonta Davis, yet he remains one of the sport's biggest stars, keeping his name firmly in the spotlight.
Me and everything. Boy, desperate for some payday. Brian just said that if I'm looking forward to it, man, we could make some good money and we could make the fight happen. At 1.4 that they did on pay-per-view buys was mainly from Ryan's side, not really from Tank. And that's all from the YouTubers and the young kids that don't know. It's just your casual fans. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be that guy that makes everybody else more.
Ryan Garcia is stepping back into the ring with something to prove, and he's making sure everyone hears him. With a fight against Rolly Romero set for the Times Square card and a high-stakes rematch with Devin Haney lined up for October, if both win their bouts, Garcia is making it clear that he's coming for anyone in his way. But even with all that ahead of him, his focus remains locked on Teofimo Lopez. The intensity in his voice was unmistakable as he called out Lopez during the press conference, locking eyes with the WBO super lightweight champion like he was next on the hit list. Teo, right there, I want that. You know I want that. I want that belt. I want everything.
To see in 2025 is Ryan Garcia versus Teofimo Lopez.
That's one of the top ones out there. That's one of the top ones, could be arguably the top one after, I believe, a high-end tune-up where he can get tested, but he'll win. But yeah, that'd be a good fight.
I love seeing like the fans going back and forth over that, like in the comments.
I would like to see the press conference itself is sell tickets to the press conference.
I know.
Yeah, listen, Ryan Garcia in that weight division is the money, is the old days of this is an.
Garcia wasn't just talking, he was making a statement. He's called for a fight with Lopez before, but this time, it felt different. Lopez, who is set to defend his title against Arnold Barboza on the same card, didn't respond right away, but his presence alone added fuel to the fire. And if there was any doubt about Lopez's willingness to stir up chaos, he quickly erased it by escalating his own rivalry with Barboza, slapping him during their face-off. The energy at the press conference was already intense, but between Garcia's relentless taunting and Lopez's short temper, the event turned into something else entirely.
To take over Lopez and the undefeated interim champ Arnold Barboza Jr. It's all for the WBO Super Lightweight World Championship.
Garcia, still dealing with the fallout from his overturned win against Haney, knows that every move he makes is under scrutiny. His victory was erased from the record books after testing positive for Osterine, resulting in a 1-year suspension from the New York State Athletic Commission. But that hasn't stopped him from staying at the center of boxing discussions. If anything, it's made him even more vocal. Now, sharing the same card as Haney, who is set to face Jose Ramirez, has only added more fuel to the fire, making the entire event even more explosive.
Romero here, and I seem to remember years ago when you guys were prospects at lightweight. You might have been at junior lightweight at the time, as a matter of fact. There was a lot of talk about a sparring session, and there was John going back years ago between you two. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I think we sparred about 8 years ago. It was a little rough sparring, I guess, but he continued to use that sparring to kind of boost up his career. Credit to his point. But I don't have no bad blood to him. I'm here to do my job and set up that rematch. But I'm not overlooking him at all. I know that he's gonna come to fight. It's a big opportunity on the main stage, so I got to be sharp and prepare.
When Garcia and Haney took the stage at the press conference, it didn't take long for tensions to explode. The back and forth was relentless, with Garcia quickly launching verbal jabs. I'm really focused on just whooping Devin Haney again. That's all I'm worried about. Not even redeeming myself, just that Osterine nonsense, which you probably set up. The accusation sent shockwaves through the room, but Haney wasn't about to let it slide. He fired back without hesitation. How did you test positive? You took your punishment because you knew you were guilty.
Haney is a hell of a fighter. He's a good fighter, but if you embarrass me like that, my pride is gonna kick in like as a fighter. Like, right. I'm gonna wanna, we're gonna have to line it up again. Yeah. And that's how I feel like with that situation. I feel like, yeah, what will waiting 4 years do for me? Like, it's gonna look like, okay, I waited it out and you're not the same fighter no more, but I wanna beat you while you feeling good and you just did that, okay, I'm gonna beat you.
Garcia wasn't backing down. He knew the controversy surrounding his positive test was the perfect way to keep the spotlight on himself. Refusing to let Haney rewrite history, he reminded everyone exactly what went down in their fight. "Osterine don't help you block a left hook, bro," Garcia shot back. "You got hit like 1,000 times. You got dribbled off the canvas." The way he said it, with the same unwavering confidence he brings into the ring, made it impossible to ignore. The history between these two is far from settled, especially with Haney's lawsuit still looming. After Garcia's test result came to light, Haney took legal action, suing him for battery, fraud, and breach of contract. The legal battle threatened to drag on, but according to ESPN, both sides agreed to pause proceedings for 90 days to negotiate terms for a rematch. If there was any doubt about whether they would run it back, this press conference erased all uncertainty. The rematch is coming, and Garcia isn't letting anyone forget what happened the first time.
I think right now they're probably going to announce a lot of fights to be finalized. That's my opinion on that. However, I think that it's a great matchup. I think it's a good storyline for Rolly as well. And I think they're going to fight at 47.
Yeah. Rolly's a big dude. Obviously, he has that power. Ryan has that right hook.
Yep.
So who do you got?
I got Ryan. I got Ryan Garcia.
Why?
Yeah, I just think that from that fight and since then, he hasn't been fighting for that long.
While Haney is locked in as Garcia's next target, Teofimo Lopez is quickly climbing up the list. It's no secret that Garcia views Lopez as the perfect fight down the line. The fact that he went out of his way to call him out, despite already having so much on his plate, shows just how badly he wants it. And Lopez, never one to back down from a challenge, looked more than ready for whatever comes next.
Comes down to Bob offering you a Teo fight and Eddie offering you Ryan. Does it just come down to what's the bigger check?
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to what makes sense. Those are two, huge fights. Obviously, Teo is more legacy belts, whatever. But I also got the belts already at 135. Of course, I want to get the belts, but right now it's what makes the most.
The way things are shaping up, the Times Square card is set to be one of the most chaotic events in recent boxing history. With Garcia and Haney reigniting their war of words, Lopez ensuring his own fight carries some bad blood, and Garcia dragging Lopez into the fire, there's no telling what will happen next. But one thing is certain, this isn't just about the fights already scheduled. It's about setting the stage for something even bigger. And with tensions running this high, the boxing world is in for a wild ride.
Today, I don't believe in coincidence. Yo, Devin. Dev.
However, as much as Lopez is trading barbs with Garcia, he seems convinced that Ryan might not make it past Rolly Romero. Teofimo Lopez knows exactly the kind of danger Romero brings to the ring, and he hasn't hesitated to warn Garcia to take the fight seriously. With Garcia treating Rolly as a tune-up before his planned October rematch with Devin Haney, Lopez sees real risks, especially when it comes to Romero's power. Having shared the boxing world with both fighters, Lopez understands that while Garcia may be the favorite, this fight is far from a walk in the park.
Like I said, I'll be ready for whatever happens. It's looking like I'm gonna fight Teofimo Lopez, so that's good. I've seen him today. He's a little strange, but other than that, he's ready to whoop his ass.
Lopez has been keeping a close eye on the situation and believes Garcia needs to fully understand what he's stepping into on May 2nd in New York. I think it's a great matchup and a great storyline for Rolly as well. I think they're going to fight at 147, Lopez said, making it clear that this fight is more than just a tune-up. It's a real test for Garcia, especially after his one-year layoff. Romero may not have the technical skills of an elite boxer, but one thing he does have is power, something Lopez knows can change a fight in an instant. Ryan has got to be careful with Rolly's punching power because Rolly still has power and definitely could do something with Ryan with those shots, Lopez warned. He's seen firsthand what Romero is capable of, and while Rolly has struggled against top-tier opposition, that doesn't mean he isn't dangerous.
Time I just stuck to a game plan when you're facing a bigger dude, bigger puncher. Because at the time I was like 17, 18, much smaller than him. So I kind of just knew what to do and I was running. So I decided to stand there and bang. He had some good moments, but nothing crazy. And then he started, using that to get his career going. But kudos to him. He used it.
It's easy to look at Rolly's history and assume Garcia will handle him without any trouble. But boxing doesn't work like that. Lopez knows that underestimating a fighter with knockout power is the quickest way to get caught. If Garcia steps into the ring thinking this is just a warm-up for Haney, he could be in for a rude awakening. Lopez pointed out that Rolly hasn't been very active lately, with his last fight taking place in September 2024 against Manuel James. However, inactivity doesn't always equal weakness. It can mean a fighter is coming in fresh, focused, and determined to prove something.
He hasn't really made that many adjustments, to be honest. Still making a lot of the same mistakes, still kind of fighting the same. His chin actually looks like it's gotten a lot weaker.
Romero has been counted out before. When he faced Ismael Barroso, many thought he was on the verge of losing before a controversial stoppage saved him. Against Gervonta Davis, he started strong but was knocked out cold. Isaac Pitbull Cruz did the same, overwhelming him with relentless pressure and stopping him in 6 rounds. Those losses may suggest that Rolly isn't a threat at the elite level, but Lopez sees things differently. When was the last time Rolando fought? Was it against Pitbull? Lopez asked, acknowledging the beating Romero took in that fight. But he also knows that power is the last thing to fade in a fighter. As long as Rolly is standing, he's dangerous.
Rolly, to be honest, I feel like it's a fun fight. He's a, aggressive, crazy dude. Lead up will be crazy. And I want that, he has the title, technically. But yeah, let's do it. I don't know if you have a...
For Garcia, the risk isn't just losing. It's what that loss would do to his future plans. Turki Alalshik has set up a major rematch between Garcia and Haney, which is expected to be one of the biggest events of the year. If Garcia gets caught and loses to Rolly, everything changes. The Haney rematch could still happen, but it wouldn't carry the same momentum. Instead of entering as a confident contender looking to erase any doubts from their first fight, Garcia would be walking in with the weight of a loss on his shoulders. And in boxing, perception matters.
Wouldn't mind watching him against Teofimo Lopez. I wouldn't mind watching him against, there's so many fighters. Boots Ennis.
You want to see him against Boots?
Why not? Let's make the great fights. Virgil Ortiz. Wow. That'll be great. There's a lot of fighters out there.
They are.
Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. Man, you can make so many fights.
Lopez doesn't believe Garcia will lose, but he also isn't dismissing Rolly the way others have. The reality is that Rolly has flaws. His defense isn't great, his footwork is stiff, and his fight IQ has been questioned more than once. But none of that matters if Garcia makes a mistake and gets caught with one of those looping right hands. And that's exactly what Lopez is warning against. If Garcia stays disciplined, uses his speed, and avoids getting careless, he should win this fight. But if he comes in overconfident, thinking he can walk through Rolly's shots without consequences, he could be in for a long night. Lopez understands that boxing isn't just about skill. It's about timing, power, and focus. And if Garcia isn't locked in on May 2nd, things could go sideways quickly.
You and Tio?
Don't you think that's a fire fight?
Because you need somebody who's going to be able to promote the fight with you.
And you need somebody that poses some type of a threat.
He's got the accolades. He's what, two-time lineal
140 champion. I feel like he would fight me at 145. See, I'm the catchweight king. I don't believe in weight.
At the end of the day, Lopez's message is simple: respect the power. Rolly might not be the most skilled fighter Garcia has ever faced, but that doesn't mean he can't ruin everything with one punch. In a sport where one mistake can change a career, Lopez knows Garcia can't afford to take any unnecessary risks. The fight with Haney is waiting, but first, Garcia has to make it past Rolly. And if he's not careful, that fight might not happen the way he planned. But for all that, it looks like Ryan is stepping into the ring as a changed man. He's entering a new chapter in his career, one where focus, professionalism, and maturity take center stage.
What's giving that look?
I don't know, man. You just gotta wait. You gotta wait and see.
All right, before I let you go,
but after I do fight him, I'll be the first one to fight all three of the so-called 4 kings. I'm the only one that's fought all of them: Tank, Devin, and Teofimo Lopez.
After years of making headlines for everything but boxing, Garcia now seems like a man on a mission, determined to prove himself where it truly matters. During the recent press conference, one word kept coming up when people spoke about him: maturity. And for good reason. "I want to be great," Garcia said, showing a level of self-awareness that hasn't always been linked to him. "I've always wanted to fight the best fighters in the sport. As for my problems outside the ring, I've always had those. I don't know who else struggles with stuff like that, but that's just something I was dealing with. Now, I just want to show everybody that you can come back from anything. I want to prove my dedication to the sport and be a true professional."
So, what next for you then, Teo? You're in the
What's
step
next for
division.
me is worldwide takeover. That's when it's next. Hey, bro, is it cool? I want to go to Italy. I want to take other places in different ways. I got a lot of fan base in Africa too. I want to go out there. So my whole thing is taking it global.
Obviously, a lot of big names.
Because nobody else is going.
These weren't just empty words. For the first time in a long time, Garcia's actions are aligning with his statements. The days of distractions, online outbursts, and off-the-cuff remarks that overshadowed his talents seem to be behind him. Now he's back in the gym, fully focused on training and proving he belongs among boxing's elite. That said, Garcia is still Garcia, passionate, outspoken, and unafraid to speak his mind. Just 48 hours before making that heartfelt statement, he sent a fiery message to Rolly Romero on social media, making it clear he wasn't taking the fight lightly. "Rolly, I'm not taking you lightly at all. I'm coming with real anger, and I'm sorry it has to be you," Garcia wrote. He also warned Romero that if he crossed the line, there would be consequences.
My next fight is for a unification at 40, and then we got Jerron in his boots, 47. Yeah. And then the winner.
Fire.
Then the winner in February against Haney Garcia.
Some might see this as a contradiction, but in reality, it's proof that Garcia hasn't lost his fire. He's not trying to change who he is. He's just channeling his energy in the right direction. The old Garcia might have let emotions take over, turning press conferences into unnecessary distractions. The new Garcia understands where to focus that energy, into his preparation, into his punches, and into proving himself in the ring. For the first time in a long time, Garcia isn't letting outside noise define him. He's focused, determined, and ready to let his fists do the talking. And if this version of Ryan Garcia is here to stay, the boxing world better take notice. What do you think? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates.